Hello, welcome back to Suburban Hunt 365. I'm DJ, back in the reloading room again today. In today's episode, we will be continuing on with our shotgun series here on this channel. So last week you saw us run through the Federal True Ball Deep Penetrator rounds. Didn't do so great, pretty much ended up in last. So we do have a Federal in the lead, and apparently at the end of the line there too. And number 2 on the list is going to be the Remington Sluggers, which those are the ones that I've used from way back in the day. So I was a little surprised to see that the Federals outdid those, because I really have enjoyed using the Federal Sluggers. Now, in the previous video, you saw us compare the Federal Sluggers to the Managed Recoil Sluggers and how that kind of ended up with the two. So with that, I don't expect these Managed Recoils to outdo the Sluggers, but I do want to see how they compare to the other rounds that we have so far. So for those of you that haven't seen that comparison video, please follow the link above and you can go check that out once we're done here with this video. But just real quick, so we have a box of the Managed Sluggers here, and if this guy's a focus, that is a 12 gauge 2 3/4 with 1200 feet per second at 1 ounce. That is the Managed Recoil. So just like with the Federals last week, Federal True Ball, they were advertising around $13.50. These are advertising around $12. And last week's didn't do so great through any of the chokes. The best one was 4 3/4, I believe is what it was. And then you have the Sluggers. Now these are Old Faithful as far as I'm concerned. They are the Slugger Rifled Slugs. They are again 12 gauge 2 3/4, but they are at $15.60 with a 1 ounce slug. So they have done pretty well in what I've seen so far, and they are number 2 only to the Federal Power Shocks so far. But getting back to today's video we are going to be running the Remington Managed Recoil Sluggers through the 12 gauge. And for those of you that follow the channel, you already know what's coming up next, but just so you guys know, we are going to be running our 5 choke test. So basically we're going to go from a skeet choke to an improved cylinder to a modified to a full to an extra full. And I will make sure as we go to give you guys all of the actual diameter sizes, because not all chokes are built the same, but the diameter size will get you pretty close. So one that's a 0.725, while that is a skeet choke here, it could be called something else in a different brand. I don't know, just want to give you the information that I can. And in today's video, as always, we will be shooting out of my 12 gauge 870 Super Mag, and it has the Venom, the Vortex Venom red dot on top. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into the skeet choke and let's see how that does. All right, well, we already started off better than we did in last week's video with the Federals. That came in at a 4 3/8 of an inch group, whereas the best one last week was 4 3/4. So we're already better than last week with the Managed Recoils, and we're looking at 1179, 1172, 1157, 1184, or excuse me, 1182. And 1163. So we're quite a bit slower than the original Sluggers compared to the Managed Recoil, but that's how they're managing the recoil, is they're simply bringing down the amount of powder, therefore bringing down the velocities as well. Let's see if we can get a little bit better group out of the improved cylinder. Okay, that one just kind of slapped all over the place there. That came in at 8 3/8 of an inch group. Kind of what we saw reminiscent of last week with the Federals. Again, they were going 1350, and these are saying that they're going 1200. The actual velocities are 1123, 1153, 1155, 1155 again, and 1150. So pretty consistent in the velocities there for the most part. But again, we have a 8 3/8 of an inch spread. Not something that I'm willing. And guys, this is at 50 yards. I failed to mention at the beginning of the video, so I apologize. This is at 50 yards. Not great at 8 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so let's pull off the improved cylinder. Let's go ahead and get into modified and see if we can't bring that back. Oh, well, no. Just absolutely no. You got one group at the top of the target, and you got one group at the bottom of the target. That's just not going to cut it. That comes in at 8 3/4 of an inch. So yeah, we've got even. No, that's just going to be bad. What really is irritating though is that you saw shot 4 and shot 5 almost hit in the exact same hole. That's just beyond irritating to have those two. Maybe this gun works better hot. Maybe you just got to go shoot the hell out of it and then do another group and see what happens. That's not very conducive to hunting because we're going to be using a cold bore. But, you know, that is what it is. But at 8 3/4 of an inch, not playing with it. So far, the skeet is what's got us going. No, not messing with anything else. But let's pull off of the modified. Let's go into full choke. Holy crap, what's going on? We're going the wrong way, guys. This is a 9.5 inch group. What in the heck am I going to shoot with that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That is absolutely just not going to work. So we got 1160, 1123, 1141, 1180, and 1149 on our velocities. So we got a little bit bigger spreader there, but 9.5 inches. We got one shot down here way off in the white down here in the bottom right hand corner, and then we got one way up high left. That just, man, 9.5 ain't gonna cut it. They just ain't gonna cut it. It is not looking good for these reduced recoil, or managed recoil rather, Remington Sluggers. So let's go ahead and let's just finish this up and then let's dig into the data. Let's go to the extra full. Okay, now we got us a group that we can actually somewhat work with, kind of like last week, because this matches last week's best with a 4 3/8 of an inch group. So, and I like the way this one's kind of roundish right there. So as long as you put that red dot in the middle of that, and your deer's fairly close, so that way the reaction time is almost nothing. You could make a shot with that, but it's 4 3/4 of an inch at 50 yards. That's just crazy. But I want to hurry up and I want to get into the data because I've seen a pattern. Let's go look. So real quick, I want to go through this and then we'll get to what I was seeing a second ago. It is a 2 3/4 running a 1 ounce slug. You have all of our sizes there and the velocities, which we've given you. And then your average deviation, which interesting enough, the standard deviation last week's video showed the two best deviations were also the two best groups. And that is not the case this week. It is very obvious looking at this group size that the skeet and the extra full gave us the best groups, with the skeet actually giving us the absolute best group at a 4 3/8 of an inch. So we're looking at a 4 3/8, an 8 3/8, 8 3/4, 9 1/8, excuse me, and 4 3/4. I do believe earlier I said a 9.5 inch group. I misspoke. That is a 9 1/8 of an inch group. But anyway, that gives us an average group size of 7.075. That group is going to actually be worse than the Federal True Ball Deep Penetrators. We'll come up here and remind you guys that was a 6.45 average group size. And then coming back down here to today is a 7.075. But the interesting thing is that looking up here again, the skeet on both of those lower velocity rounds. Again, I don't have enough data to really back that up, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here, is that the lower velocity rounds, the skeet seem to be giving us the best groups. Again, that's 6th place out of 7. So last week we got us a new basically worse. This week we're doing it again with a new basically worse round. The only one that's beating these out right now as far as inaccurate goes is the shorties, and again, it's a novelty. It's not really a hunting round. So 7 inch on average group. that just isn't going to cut it, guys. So for me, the managed recoils are out. So far, what I'm looking at the time of this video, again, I've got about a week left to figure out what I'm going to do with hunting. I'm not going to have too much of a time to get to the range. So pretty much I'm calling it right now. The Federal Power Shocks are going to be the ones that I run. And then let's look up here real quick just to double check, make sure I'm not telling you wrong. The improved cylinder gave us a 2 1/8 of an inch group, which is actually pretty freaking phenomenal if you ask me. So I will be using my 870 with the improved cylinder with the Federal Power Shocks. So there's your game of Clue. Now we just got to go out and take care of the deer. So guys, if you guys have stuck with us this far, I cannot thank you enough. I truly do appreciate you guys being here with us. If you can, as always, do us a favor, hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And then as always, please comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know that you guys have been following my muzzleloader series. You're tired of seeing shotgun muzzle and want to go back to muzzleloader, which is kind of where we're at. I'm doing this mainly because I pulled the quota hunt, but it's also good information to have and to get out to you guys. But it's really because of the fact that I've got that quota hunt coming up, and you guys know me in accuracy. I want to make sure that it's going to hit where I want it to hit. So again, from Suburban Hunt 365, I'm DJ. I appreciate you guys. We'll catch you on the next one.